We are recording episode 4 of Training Day with Coach Hawke, with somebody who might give me a run for my money in the educational field. Probably knows one or two more things about education than I do. The IWS Women's Champion, former ISW Queen of Crazy, one all-around fantastic human being, folks. Addy, Starr, how are we today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am okay. I mean, look, honestly, I'm loving life right now. I'm not going to lie to you. All things considered, I'm doing pretty well for myself. But bit of rain today.
Yeah.
And it's not good for the old arthritis. I'm an old man now at 32 years old. So we're going to launch right into the interview so that I don't come off looking like I want too much self-pity. Training Day with Coach Hawke. I have 3 questions for you. And the first question is, of course, where did you go to wrestling school? And what was the experience like?
So I went to wrestling school at a place called the Pure Wrestling Academy, which is in Cambridge, Ontario. The funny thing about this place is it was actually an apartment that was above a dollar store downtown in Cambridge.
Sick. Of course it was.
Yeah. And so it was literally like you would go up these stairs and it was like you were walking into an apartment building. It was like someone's living room that had just put a wrestling ring in. So it was like super weird. We had to wait till 7 o'clock till the store closed before we could start bumping in the ring. Amazing. It was the weirdest thing ever.
I want that to be my house. I'm just saying. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So I trained with Eddie Osborne. Was
fellow Ginger.
Yes, fellow Ginger. And he was great. He invited me down to come train at the school, and I was about, how old was I? 17 at the time. I just graduated high school. I was looking for something else to do because I was pretty active in terms of like sports and stuff in high school, and now that I didn't really have much other direction in life. I was doing hockey, I was doing rugby, I was doing badminton, I was doing floor hockey, lots and lots of stuff.
Right on.
So after I left high school, I hadn't really like planned what I was going to do. I was like not sure if I wanted to go to university, not sure what job I wanted to pursue.
Hang on, let me interrupt you. You didn't have your whole life planned out at 17 years old?
I didn't.
What?
Surprisingly enough.
Big if true.
I know. Really weird. Considering now, like my whole job is like telling kids that they have to have their lives planned out.
They need to know.
Yeah. At like 12, I'm like telling kids they have to figure out what they have to do.
Sorry, continue.
So I was like really unsure of what I wanted to do. So I got invited down by a few people that I knew that were at the school. And I did it for a couple of weeks and I loved it. And they said, yeah, you should definitely come back and keep training. I knew nothing about wrestling at the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I literally had never watched wrestling. I had never heard anything about it. I knew nothing.
Just like, this is a fun thing to do, to go above a dollar store in somebody's apartment. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It was a weird, cool thing to do. And when I started doing it, it was really interesting because a lot of the people that I was training with, they all had like, they were all fans of wrestling and they all had like an idea of what they wanted to do and what they wanted to achieve in wrestling and like who they wanted to be like they wanted to be like Shawn Michaels or they wanted to be like Steve Austin or whatever. And I was just there like following instructions because I had no idea. So in a way, I always thought it was kind of interesting that I might have had like, not an advantage, but that I was approaching it differently because I had no real idea of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to achieve. And I was just following someone's instructions.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, especially because like we talk a lot about being the wrestler that you should be and not the wrestler you wanted to be when you were growing up, right? Like I know that I wanted to be Shawn Michaels. Absolutely. Love Shawn Michaels. My Zadie, my maternal grandfather, actually a pants maker when I was like 6, made me Shawn Michaels tights out of this like reflective material. Also made me a ginger spice dress, but I digress. Either way, I wanted to be Shawn Michaels, but it took me a while to realize that I wasn't Shawn Michaels, unfortunately. As much as I might want to be, maybe kind of resemble current day Shawn Michaels, but regardless, coming in like with that blank piece of clay, I suppose, that can just be like, you kind of just were like the reed in the river, right? You kind of just went with the flow, and where you ended up is where you ended up. And I mean, it's working for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was great because like I just kind of like soaked everything up like this like sponge. Like I just wanted to learn as much as I could just because I didn't know anything. So people were like telling me stuff to watch. People were like giving me recommendations.
Mhm.
Someone gave me a huge Rubbermaid tote full of ECW VHS tapes that I
Sick.
watched religiously. Um,
Hell yeah, you did.
so I think that really like influenced the kind of wrestler I became eventually. But again, I came into it with no expectations.
Which is very
Um,
interesting because you're an educator now.
yes.
So as somebody who's coming in from a blank slate who is also kind of shaping younger minds, like did that learning style inform the way that you teach now? Or how you learn now even?
I think, yeah, I think I tell people to try to not have expectations too often. I tell people to just like be in the moment and learn what you're learning as you're learning it and really take like be in the present.
I
Because
like
if
that
you
a lot.
worry, yeah, if you
Yeah.
worry too much about what you're doing and what you're going to achieve, you're not going to actually take it all in at that time. So I
Nice.
definitely tell my kids that.
Hell yeah. Wrestling students also write that down now if you're watching. Speaking of students and students of the game in all shapes and sizes and regards, I'm going to move on to my second question, which is, I mean, maybe not right now since we're in the middle of a pandemic, but what does Addy Starr usually do to stay in ring shape? I mean, I've seen you do the workouts on the Instagrams and stuff, and like, I mean, you've got your training down, you got your own regimen, but like,
Mhm.
also, how do you prepare for a Lego death match? Um,
um, yeah, I mean, the Lego thing, it's hilarious because that was just something that kind of evolved over the years, and I'm just so used to it now that I don't even prepare. I've done so many of them that it's just kind of like, oh, it's just another match now.
yeah, it's like another, it's
Um,
another set. It's another set.
yeah,
You're fine.
exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of like the staying in shape, I'm really lucky that I have a very supportive partner who
Yes, you do.
also
Who we
keeps.
love.
Yes, we love.
Yeah.
Listen to Powerbomb, please.
Listen to Powerbomb.
um, and he has kept me very accountable. He made a lot of my workouts for me, so he's been doing all the programming and he's been doing all that and taking care of everything.
Nice.
So I think having someone who you can be accountable to is a really really great thing if you are someone who struggles for motivation. Like I struggle to get started on my workouts. I really do. I'm terrible for having motivation.
I feel like everybody, like there's a certain aspect of that to everybody. I mean, I
Yeah,
do it because I kick my own ass because I'm a huge nerd, but like I think everybody needs to find that means of motivation. And it's good that you found one of your own, clearly. Your
yeah,
built-in
definitely.
motivator with your awesome partner.
Yeah, awesome. He's the best. And I think even if you just have someone who like you could like text and say like I'm gonna do my workout today, and they're like, yeah, awesome. Like
Yeah,
it
right
does.
on.
It can even just be that. That's been my thing. And then also taking care of the like mental health side of things has
Yes.
been super super important.
With the partner as well. Like they're having somebody, a tag team partner in life in a way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And having
Yeah.
someone who you can, vent to at the end of a long day, like even like talking about wrestling, because we like I've missed wrestling so much, and I really miss everything
Do
about it
you?
right now.
Do
I
you?
do,
Yeah.
I do so much. Um, and being able to just to talk to him and still have that kind of connection with it because he's very supportive of my career. So I think for me, the biggest thing in terms of having both physical and mental health has been having someone I can count on and rely on. And so I hope that everyone can find someone like that, even if it's not a partner, if it's just a friend, just a
Or a coach
coworker, coach. Yeah, someone that
to
you
all my
can.
students.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Someone that you can be accountable to, and someone that you can rely on.
So like a very communal kind of training then. Not
Hmm.
in like the sense of the word where like it's a whole like gathering thing, but just that human connection in your both mental and physical preparation plays a very big role in getting you to throw yourself into Lego, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
mean, and he's my biggest fan. Like, he's my biggest supporter. So, like, I would not do as well, I don't think, without him there cheering me on all the time.
And also listen to Powerbomb again. I'm going to plug again. Great. So moving on to question number 3, Addy. Current day you encounters a time genie, and you're able to go back in time to your first day of wrestling school. You're able to give yourself one piece of advice. You don't know if you're going to follow it. You don't know each other. You don't know it's you. You can't be like, by the way, here's an Iggy. I'm you from the future. Like, invest in Tesla. You can't do that. Okay. You can give yourself a piece of wrestling advice. What advice do you give yourself and why?
I would definitely say that my advice would be that you don't know everything from the moment you have your first match. You don't know
Nice.
everything. Because I was someone who, because I was the only girl in my training school, I got put into matches very quickly
Right.
because there was a big lack of women in the scene. So, 4 months into my training, they're like, right, you're up, you got a match, you're going. So it was okay. Like, it was fine. I had some really great mentors that helped me through my first matches that were brutal. I look back at them now and I'm just like, oh my God,
I
they're
think we
so
all do, though. Come on.
bad. Be easier on
Yeah,
yourself than
these
that.
are
Yeah. They're particularly bad though.
okay, so maybe I want to see them after, but
and I would go back and I would say to myself that just because you've had your first match doesn't mean that you should stop your training and stop learning. Because
right.
I kind of did that a little bit, and
A lot of people do.
I think a lot of people do
They
that.
do.
They think that they've had their first match now,
I know it.
or they've had a few matches, and they're like, right, that's it. I'm good. I can just kind of like pick things up as I go.
Yep.
But really, you need to go back and work on yourself and use your experiences that you have in the ring to work on them in training.
Yes.
And I didn't do that. And so I feel like I wasted a good 3 or 4 years of my career, not going back and reflecting on, this is a match that I had and I didn't get feedback on it and I didn't want to hear what people were telling me. I was a little bit too arrogant. I thought that I knew everything because I was so good and I got my start so quick and everything. And I will admit, I was full of myself for the first few years. And I look back now and I go, man, that's so cringy. I can't believe I did that.
So
And
I think that's a through line though for like tons of people. Like, have you heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So it's a psychological principle that the more that you learn about a specific subject, the more you realize what you don't know about the subject, right? And there's this like very interesting graph that I find online where they have this concept called Mount Stupid, where you have experience on one axis, and then you have like so you have like experience and knowledge rather, right? So you have like how long you've been in the business versus how much you know. And it gets to the point where like you said, like after you've had your first match, you think you know a lot because you don't know how much you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's exactly that.
The thing is that it takes time for you as a journeyman person, as somebody who like makes the rounds, to realize how much you don't know, because there's so much knowledge and information in wrestling that can only be transmitted through experience, right? Like, we could talk about so many things. We could talk about shine, heat, and comeback, and we could talk about how to work the audience, and we could talk about like, getting a reaction and selling and everything till the cows come home. And there are like how many podcasts and all this like hours of information that are online, but it's no there's no comparison to actually being in the ring and having those matches and even doing the reps of the techniques that you think you've already mastered, like just the basics and fundamentals and footworks. And I try to tell people that all the time, and then I start ranting like I do now because it's a subject I feel very strongly about.
Yeah.
But regardless, please continue.
Yeah, I think you're right. The whole experience thing, you realize there's how much that you don't know, because I encountered so many people in my career that know so much and
Right.
that were so amazing at what they were doing, that I was like, wow, maybe I need to step back and kind of like, go backwards here rather than like trying to push myself forward, because I was just constantly trying to like take my career to the next level, and I was doing that in the ring only,
Right.
and not outside of the ring. I wasn't doing the work that you needed to do outside of the ring to get better in the ring.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what I would do if I could go back. I would slow everything down.
Yeah.
I would stop worrying about getting, merch and promo pics and things like the first year that I was working, and I would 100% just focus on getting better and getting feedback. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yes, all the yes. Words of wisdom from the First Lady of Lego, IWS Women's Champion, former ISW Queen of Crazy, all around rad person, somebody who understands my literary references, which I really appreciate. Folks, she has a kick-ass partner. Let's plug Powerbomb one more time. Yes, make sure you go give them a listen. And Addy, is there anything you would like to plug? Social medias, perhaps?
I'm all over Twitter. I love talking to people on Twitter. So follow me at Addy Starr. Follow me on Instagram at Addy Stars and Stripes. And sometimes I even do Twitch because I have 700 video games in my apartment that I need something to do with. So follow me at Addy Star Scream on Twitch.
Folks, an educator, an all-around awesome human being, and somebody who I feel lucky to have been able to be a witness to their journey. Addy Starr, thank you for being with us on Training Day with Coach Hawke. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Follow us at IWS Hardcore on every single platform, youtube.com/IWS Hardcore and www.iwsshop for your merchandise needs. My name is Coach Hawke. I've been with Addy Starr. Folks, this is Training Day. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.